Hello, YouTube.
It's time
to revisit Aliens. I feel like this is the kind of just obligatory once every few or so months look at Aliens because I'd arguably say it is one of my favorite archetypes. And every time we get some good enough new alien support, or if we get some decent reptile support, or if I've just been tinkering around and done a couple little different things and I want to show off, we look at the alien deck that I'm currently brewing. And that is exactly what we are going to be doing in today's video. We are going to dive into the world of A counters and still wait for an actual playable field spell. In either case, before we go ahead and take a look at the deck and see this deck in action, if you all could do me the favor as to like, comment, and subscribe, graciously would appreciate it. In any case, let's see what I've cooked up. Okay, so let's actually look at what I have tweaked with the deck. There have been some slight modifications as we've included a new emergent engine that is starting to see some splashing in the TCG, as well as we're waiting on one OCG card, which for once, I think this is the first time I've ever done in a video. I'm going to be playing an OCG related card, although I would expect in the future sets that this card will get imported, but we'll get into that. In either case, Triple Ammonite, great starter paired off with Alien Buster, as long as we get this in the graveyard. Also a great way to get us A counters onto certain monsters to trigger their effects. And then one part of the win con that we have is Alien Kid. Seemingly inconspicuous, just being able to place A counters everywhere on special summon monsters, but that pairs very well with one of our Link monsters. Alien Dog as an extender, as well as Alien Overlord, also as a bigger monster that we can potentially use for synchro plays. We're including some of the Ragnarika, specifically the reptile stuff in terms of main deck monster. Armored Lizard is just basically an extender, but also on field it has a really good effect where I can discard Insect Plant, which I don't have, but I do have reptiles to discard. And then that way I can actually just bounce a monster. So it is a form of removal in itself. More handy going second, as obviously when I'm going first, this is just a level 4 dark reptile that I can use to extend. Fantastic. We are doing a 2-2 ratio of the Naoya and Nunus for our Ogdoadics, as well as a 1 Ogdoadic Overlord, which will be great for further extension and getting us into our Link plays. And then we have a couple of Reptilians. We have the 1 Lamia, level 2 tuner, which is paired great with the Hydra, which gives us extra draws and destruction. And then, of course, we have a Kodo, which is another extender and gets us into the bigger level 8 synchro. Sword Serpent, great target to send off of Snake Rain, as well as 1 Tsuchinoko, searchable, discardable, great just extender, and happens to be a reptile, and an adorable one at that. Double Snake Rain, so we have cut down a little bit. We're a little less reliant on it, but we still would like to see it. Snake Lily, or Water Lily, really good card, especially if we already have 5. It gives us a Monster Reborn, extra extension. Speaking of Monster Reborn, Viper's Rebirth is a Monster Reborn for reptiles. Fantastic. And we've cut out everything that is not a reptile to make sure that this stays live at all times. 3 recombination device, way to distribute A counters, get an alien in the graveyard, and then also follow up searching for the next turn with a 1 Code Ancient Ruins, way to just reborn. We have plenty of ways to reborn, as well as with the Ogdoadic Serpent Strike. Plenty of different ways to just get reptiles and aliens on the board so that we can link climb. Triple Imperm, the 1 Planet Pollutant, which is another part of our win con, and then Ragnarite to Hunting Dance, which is just a nice way to, have some destruction that we can search off of some of the links. Speaking of which, 1 Lamia, searchability, we have our P Brigade. Oh god, did I really say that? IP Brigade, SP Brigade, basic generic links. 1 Shock Trooper, it's useful for distributing A counters, but also it's just a way to get an alien monster on field that we can use to trigger Planet Pollutant Virus. Skeletal Soldier, Ragnarika. So it's a way to extend further. We have to make sure, though, specifically that we will have the Armored Lizard in the graveyard to really make use of that effect. To, summon special summon back and then climb up. It does also give us a Fire, which is useful for Access Code Talker, because a lot of our others are just dark. So giving us some variation in the types in the graveyard. Cosmic Slicer Zerol is always going to be our main win condition. Just being able to blanket any effects. It's a Bagusko for A counters. Turn them to defense, their effects are negated. Even if they can't do a defense like it's a Link monster, their effects are still negated. It's a fantastic way, which will either go off of Planet Pollutant Virus or off of Alien Kid to get those counters on them. Ragnarika, This one, the Kurokat Mitsuki, is not out yet in the TCJ. Hopefully it will be. But this is a reptile, so that's fantastic for us. It's a water, so it's more access code fodder if we need it. But also, this is removal. Banish 2, target that many spell and traps removed. So it's spell and trap removal, which is fantastic. So we don't have to go specifically into a Nightmare Phoenix. This is just a little bit better for us. And then we have the good old Mantis Monk, which is a way that we can actually search out our hunting dance. So, you know, have a little bit of searchable interruption. We have the big chain coils, the big for not XCs, Link. But basically, if your opponent activates a monster effect, neither player can I can activate this. Neither player can activate effects of monsters in the hand this turn. So depending on the matchup, this might be really handy, especially if it's a hand special summoning type of archetype. So a really good form of interaction. And if it's in the graveyard, target a insect plant, which is not applying to us unless it's specifically Mantis Monk, but target a reptile, place it at the bottom of the deck, and then I can special summon. So it has a little bit of recursion to it. And then, of course, access code. King of the Pharaoh Limbs, we're reptiles, we have 4s, we can search. Golgar, my favorite card, one of my favorite cards in the deck, beautiful in ulti, just a way to bounce any continuous spells or traps to get more A counters, and then also just targeting destruction by using those A counters as a resource. Draw power with Hydra, and then of course, Melusine is also really annoying in just making everyone 0, can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. That can be hard and make my board a lot more stickier to deal with. All in all, it's a fun list so far with what I've been tweaking around with. Obviously, we're just trying to get to 0 as fast as possible, but let's see how it plays in real time. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and dive on into game number 1. We're going to start off by discarding our Ogdoadic to send the big Overlord into the graveyard. And then we're also going to trigger a bit more because we have sent a reptiles to the graveyard. We can bring out the Ogdoadic Overlord. We can special summon out our Nunu, and then also special summon out our Naoya, getting us that search of Snake Lily. We can then go into King of the Pharaoh Limbs, searching out a normal summonable monster, which will go into the Ammonite, climb on up into our Zerol. This is our win con activated. We're going to send and then revive a kid because we have 5 reptiles in grave, so we have basically sealed up the deal, as well as having a planet pollutant virus in the back row, which we can then deal with a normal summon and with a Melusine. I'm feeling quite confident. My opponent's on this big old clear world deck. They go ahead and activate the clear world, going ahead and then activating clear wall, which basically allows them to add a monster and search. I'm just going to go ahead and clear the board, distributing out for my alien kid, because even though I don't need the normal summon anymore, yeah, my opponent ain't going to do anything. And the Clear Vicious Knight is just going to be sitting in defense position nice and pretty. They deal with one of my monsters, but that's honestly okay. I'm going to take a lot of damage off of the Lamia, but turn that monster into 0. Then going off into the Hydra, which is fantastic. I get to destroy 1, draw a card. I lo and behold bring out the Armored Lizard. I go ahead and bring out enough damage to push in for lethal, but unfortunately I don't have the battle phase based off one of the effects, so I'm just going to clean up shop a little bit and put my opponent in a position where they can't do anything by using the Link 3 that's from the OCG to just clear out the field, but they have another clear world, unfortunately for me. But I mean, I honestly do not mind in the slightest. I can use the code A Ancient Ruins and bring back another Alien Overlord. Alien Overlord will activate its effect, placing another counter on. I can use my Ragnarok to pop away the field spell. They can search and bring up another one. That is totally fine by me. I'm going to use the Stealth Buff to String Grade to clear out 1, bring out a big access code, targeting my Link 3, which happens to be enough to get me well past lethal. Game number 2, we are going to go up against Cyber Piles, you know, Mathmech, Salamangreat, Firewall. In either case, we have a kind of okay opener. We were able to get up into our Zerol, getting ourselves a kid. We have to use the recombination device to send an Overlord to get us a lot of counters as resource, but we can still establish the kid on field with a search on the follow-up with recombination. It hopefully will be enough to stop my opponent, but we'll find out. They go ahead and link on off into Balings, which luckily, because Kid is established on the field, all their monster effects are not going to be doing anything. Cynek Kodak hits the field, so that they can still trigger, despite not being able to activate monster effects. But I am worried. Unfortunately for me, Subtraction hits the field, which does lower my Zerol, so now they can just simply beat on over my monster and take care of my lock. And luck, like I mentioned during the deck profile, unfortunately, yeah, Links, although they can't activate their effects, they don't get turned into defense position, so they are able to out my lock, and now they're completely free to pop on off. I have no interaction whatsoever. So, yeah, we just kind of have to watch my opponent special summon their entire deck into oblivion whilst I just happily put 8 counters on them off the affected kid. After a millennium and getting myself a Cyber Sibley, I can finally talk. Also, I just wanted to save my voice, to be honest. I try to bait out a couple of interactions and at least try to get rid of the Ibly. I try to use my Stealth Buster. That gets negated by the Dark Fluid. So yeah, I am basically going to be stuck with this Ibly. I try to pop it once again, but yeah, there's not enough. I try the Ammonite. Ammonite's going to go ahead and get bounced by the Firewall, so we're just going to scoop up. Game number 3. We are going up against Rescue Ace. We get first hit with an Ash Blossom, which is not the best, but we'll deal with it. We try again with the Naoya being special summoned, but we get hit with an Imperm. So that's 2 interactions that we've gotten out of our opponent. Now it's time to see what we can do with they having 3 cards left in hand and whatever else other gas we still have. We were able to get the Tsuchinoko on the field. We go up into an SP Little Knight with an Imperm. So we have at least 2 interactions. 2 interactions for 2 interactions. I think that's a fair trade. It's not the best end board, but at least it is something. As long as we can survive to the next turn and hopefully have the, something to do on the crackback. Anyway, they go ahead and bring out the Fire Hydrant. We're going to just go ahead and get that off the field. They bring out the Impulse, and then they hit me with the Emergency. The Emergency was unknown to me in hand, so there's not too much that I could do about that, unfortunately. They go for the Turbulence, which I was saving that Imperm for. I am not letting them set 4 in their back row. So luckily we are just going to have to move straight to battle phase for them, meaning that we stay alive. They go into the Sunlight Wolf, and they bring back the Hydrant, unfortunately, and they get to search back an Impulse, and they set 1. We draw Snake Rain, which is interesting. We first bring out the Nunu, and then we go ahead and activate Snake Rain, go ahead and activating the effects, seeing what we can do and placing some 8 counters on their field based off the Stealth Buster attack. I go up into the Echidna. Echidna tries to activate her effect, but she gets hit with Contain. That is rough. So now I can't activate that. I can still trigger off my Overlord, but he gets flipped upside down. He's got a big booty at 3100, but it's not going to be enough, I do not believe. They go ahead and they are going to set 4 off of the Turbulence. Unfortunately, they're going to normal summon the Airlifter, getting their Field Search. They activate the Field Spell right off the bat, and they move straight to battle phase. That Field Spell is giving them enough of attack points to battle me over and take me out. Game number 4, we're going up against Trap Tricks. We're going to start off with Snake Rain, discarding the Lamia, and it's starting to pop off a little bit. We bring out the Serpent. We are going to go ahead and special summon the Armored Lizard, special summoning the Kodal, and we normal summon our Ammonite, getting us 5 material on board. We already go up into our Cosmic Slicer. He's going to go ahead and place and search us an Alien Kid. We're going to remove 2 so we can normal summon our Alien Kid, and then we're going to synchro up into the Melusine. This will hopefully keep our board alive by sending everyone to 0. We'll let the first one go off. Since it's a normal summon, they're going to use their field spell to get an additional normal summon, which means no 8 counters for them. I'm now going to start my chain because I always then forget that this card is not once per turn, it's once per chain. So I can make all their monsters 0 attack, which I'm going to begin to start doing. Turning everyone to 0, they go up into their Illumers, but now that's a special summon monster. Everyone's getting 8 counters and turn to defense position with no effects thanks to Cosmic Slicer Zero. They try to keep on exceeding, but they ultimately rage quit because they can't do anything. So I will happily take that win. The final game, we are going up against ABC, but with the Ojama fanatical thing that goes on. In either case, we're going to normal summon, special summon, bring out our Alien Shock Trooper M-Frame, special summon out the Alien Overlord, bring out the Portal, and then special summon the Armored Lizard. We go up into the 0, searching our Planet Pollutant Virus, which we can now tribute off the Alien Shock Trooper M-Frame. So we have our lock established. They're going to start with the Galaxy Soldier. Galaxy Soldier effect, we're just going to go ahead and fire off our virus, destroying that Galaxy Soldier, clearing their field. Now, anytime they special summon, or summon in general, they're going to get an 8 counter, and my lock has officially been established, so I can now just watch my opponent try to do some shenanigans, which they can still activate the Union effects in the Spell and Trap Zone, but they're not going to be able to do anything in terms of actual monster effects on field, so it's just going to be a Platinum Gadget with an 8 core and pass. We draw a Recombination Device, which is not bad. It could be better, but if we... Anyway, in either case, we still push through, clear the board, set the Recombination Device. It might be useful in follow-up turns if we need to distribute more 8 counters or eventually get a search off They go with the Galaxy Soldier, going to V-Drake. They go up into Brute Enforcer, which is interestingly enough, it's not going to be doing anything. They bring out the Buster Dragon, but unfortunately, Dragon Buster is in defense and can't activate its effects. We're going to go ahead and give it some counters. Sending Stealth Buster. Stealth Buster's going to get some counters on. We're going to move to battle phase, clear out their Link Monster, and then we're going to pass back. Now we at least just kind of have to slowly grind our opponent down. They try to turn back to attack position, but forget Zerol's effect. They activate Dark World Dealings, which works perfectly for me. It's a free Tsuchinoko on my end. Now we go ahead and activate Recombination Device. They activate Ojama Pajama, showing the jankier side of their deck now, which will be fun. The three brothers get added. We normal summon our Ammonite, go up into Stealth Buster, go up into my favorite Cosmic Fortress, Golgar. Golgar is going to bounce that Ojama Pajama, getting some extra A counters onto the field. We activate Viper's Rebirth, bringing out our Shock Trooper M-Frame. We're going to activate the Nunu, sending the Overlord, going up into Mantis Monk. Mantis Monk is going to grab us the Hunting Dance. We're going to clear out their field, thanks to Golgar, and then we are going to push on in and take this game. And that's going to do it. It's still kind of performing the same way as it previously has in the other iterations. The new Ragnarok stuff is fun. I do like having that searchable interaction. But, I mean, honestly, the deck is still plagued by the same problem that it's always had. It doesn't have a definitive starter. Zerol has a fantastic effect, which I wish would be on a normal summon monster. Add a card that adds or places A counters. You have to basically jump through a couple loops and holes to get your turn play setup started. Alien Stealth Buster is great as a card to get you there, but you need always, you know, a 2 or maybe even a 3 card combo. There's no 1 card combos per se. You can kind of get there, obviously. That's why we have like the Ogdoatic engine, which can pseudo get us into our plays, but it's not really an alien starter. That's, I think, if Alien is going to get another wave of legacy support, it needs a definitive normal summon, a power normal summon. Obviously, back in the day, Ammonite was the power normal summon. Normal summon it, get a 4, boom, you can make yourself a Golgar. That's fantastic. We need something like that. We need the second effect of Recombination Device, that effect. But until then, we're going to just kind of keep on tinkering with all the reptile support that we can and make Alien as best as we can possibly take it. In either case, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Leave a comment down below of what you think or what you have in your current Alien brews, and I will catch you in the next video.